there's still a little part of me that when I'm doing that during a show, I'm like, can't believe that I can do this. This is so cool. This is the neatest thing in the world.
Hi, welcome to the guest list with Patrick Hicks. Today I am joined by musician, author, teacher, Doug Robertson. Doug, thanks so much for being with me.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
All right, so I know a few things about you. I know you're in a band called Red Hoof. Your new album is coming out soon. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, we're a three-piece heavy metal band in Portland, Oregon, and we have a new album coming out. It's called Broken Toys, and it's going to be out at the end of the month. Really excited. It's rock and roll heavy metal. You know, I love Motorhead. My guitar player loves Kiss. So you think about a band that would have those two big influences, and that's what we're working with.
Yeah, it's very fun. It's metal, but the vocals to me are very punk inspired. So I clock the Motorhead influence for sure. Do you live in Portland? Are you from Portland originally?
No, I grew up in Southern California.
Oh,
Moved to Portland a few years ago.
okay. What part of Southern California?
Palmdale. I grew up where Frank Zappa went to school, where Frank Zappa
Oh,
grew up.
nice. Okay. So why did you decide to move to Portland?
I lived in Hawaii for 6 years. I taught in Hawaii. And my wife is from Washington. We met in Hawaii. My wife is from Washington. And when we decided to move back to the mainland, I'm from Southern California. She's from Washington. So we split the difference and
Yeah,
went to Oregon.
met in the middle. Okay. Had you ever been there before?
Once or twice we visited Portland. We really liked it. It's a really nice city. It's a big city that feels like a small city.
Yeah.
Is a cool place.
Yeah.
Plus, you know, coming from Hawaii, bands don't really visit Hawaii. It's hard to see concerts on the island. I think I saw Elton John there and Children of Bodom, and that was like it. Nobody comes to Hawaii. So it was just really nice to be somewhere where like tours come.
And that was the same concert or?
Yeah, double bill.
Tell me a song from your childhood growing up in Southern California.
The one that jumps out to me, and in knowing what I know now, my answer is very funny. But to me at the time, it was the most serious thing in the world. It's Ain't My Bitch, the first song off of Load for Metallica.
Okay.
Because I'm a big heavy metal guy. And that's the first heavy metal song I remember hearing. And knowing what I know about Metallica now and knowing about music now, saying the heaviest thing I had ever heard in my entire life was Load is a really funny statement. But it's true. That's that song. All
right. So how do you feel about Load now? This is
it is
oft maligned album of theirs.
It is an overly maligned album. I think it's not their best album, but it might be their sixth best album. But when like 4 of those 6 are literally the best heavy metal band or heavy metal albums that have ever been made, like that's pretty good.
6 is pretty good.
I mean, I think of the 72 Seasons is probably better. Hardwired might be better. Load has got some good songs on it. It's not so bad. It's too long. But I mean, it's not Saint Anger.
Yeah. I remember I went to this babysitter my whole childhood, and she had 2 sons that were older than me. And when they started getting into heavy metal, like I was still in elementary school and they were getting into like middle school, high school, and they played Metallica's Black Album. And I was super into that. And then they started getting into like Cannibal Corpse. And so I'm like in 6th grade and they're like, you got to listen to Cannibal Corpse. I was like, go back to Metallica. I'm not ready for this yet. But it just a couple years, like the transition was fast from Metallica to death metal.
That's I didn't get to I'm in death metal now, but I didn't get to death metal for a really long time. And I think it's really important to talk about how Metallica is a gateway drug, and a lot of like true cult metal guys look down on Metallica because they're the popular band or whatever.
Right.
but like you gotta start somewhere. Everybody needs to get into heavy music, and like the Black Album or Load are perfect albums for Baby's first heavy metal album. And
Yeah,
then
oh,
you
for sure.
discover Slayer, and then you discover Anthrax, and then you discover Cannibal Corpse and bands with logos you can't read. Like
Yeah.
it's
I
Load is a
mean,
great place to start.
yeah, I was much more of a punk guy, but I mean, I think whenever you're in like a subgenre, there's a similar thing where it's like once you start getting into the more obscure stuff, there's this tendency to be like, well, I don't even like Rancid anymore, even though that's what got me pointed in this direction. And then when you get older, you're like, you know what? These bands are still great. Like, I'm not gonna,
Rancid's, Rancid's bass playing is incredible.
yeah, I mean, Matt
That
Freeman
guy's
is
a monster.
insane. Yeah.
His have you heard his three-piece metal band Charger?
Oh no. No,
Oh
he has
wait,
so many side projects. I can't keep them all straight.
I have it over here somewhere. Their Charger's incredible. It's like Motorhead.
Oh,
They're
okay.
so good.
All right. What about a live concert experience? What's a song from a live show that stands out to you?
So every answer on this list to every question could have been Nick Cave. I'm just such a giant Nick Cave fan. I love him. I think he's brilliant. I got to see him on the Skeleton Tree tour. Um, it must have been 5 years ago now, maybe more. And at near the end of the show, he played Distant Sky, which is one of the cuts off of Skeleton Tree. And it's a very moody, calm. It's not like big bombastic rock and roll Nick Cave. It's very atmospheric. And at the end of the song, there's this extended, at least live, extended violin solo from oh, his name just went away. His violin player, who is incredible. And like I don't cry during I've never cried during a concert. I cry during movies. I'm a big pushover when it comes to sad movies and sappy movies. Easy cry. But like suddenly I'm crying at this concert and I can't believe it. And it was so moving to me, just the way everything came together. Nick Cave, if you've never seen him
I have
live,
not. Yeah, it's on my list.
it's it's like church. Like I'm not a religious person, but it's what church I think ideally is supposed to feel like.
Yeah.
Um and
You know,
just that moment on top of everything else that had already happened that night was just incredibly beautiful, and I just absolutely loved it.
what is a song that you associate with a specific activity?
So I am old enough that I remember the very beginning of MP3 players. Like I had not an iPod, but whatever the cheap knockoff version of the iPod was that
Yeah.
had like enough space for an album's worth of songs on it.
Yeah.
You
I had
couldn't
like a
fit a
little
lot of music on it.
plastic, like colorful, weird thing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And back before I had kids, I used to be in really good shape. So I had one of these things, and I wasn't like your phone now where you can like build a playlist and you have every song that has ever existed on it. I like had to pick out exactly what my workout playlist was.
Yeah.
And I always ran 3 miles at the beginning of my workout. So I would always time the song that would start at 26 minutes would be Anthrax's Got the Time, because that's the song that I wanted to finish the run to. I need to
Yeah.
finish as hard as I can, so I need Got the Time to make myself run as hard as possible.
Love
So
it.
very much it's got to be Got the Time.
You talked about crying at movies. What about what is a song that gets you emotional?
This is a silly answer. It's Let It Be, the Beatles song, but it's not the Beatles version of the song. It's the version from Across the Universe, the
Oh,
movie that came out like 20 years ago, 15 years ago,
yeah,
whatever.
like Beatles
For
musical.
some reason, the the orchestration and the way that song is performed and all of the visuals that go along with the song during that sequence in Across the Universe, like it just really hits for me. And it's all it because like there's a few there's a funeral for a child during the course of that song in the movie. And that kind of stuff just hits. And actually, when I was building this list, I was like, I think it's that song, but it's probably just because of when I was watching the movie and stuff. And I put it on, and almost immediately I was like, no, it's it's this something about this song. And it's so weird to me because I love covers except for the Beatles. Like, you're not allowed to cover the Beatles. The Beatles did
Yeah.
it perfectly and you cannot make it better. But for some reason, that movie just like, I think it really works. I really like those songs.
I like that movie too. I haven't thought about it in a while. I don't know what the like enduring cultural legacy of it was. I feel like I don't really hear people talking about it, but
I
I
don't
liked
think
it
it
as a
had
kid.
one.
Yeah, I remember I saw it at the ArcLight in LA, which I don't think I've ever had a bad movie going experience there, so that could have been part of it, but I liked it.
I was living in Hawaii. I saw it midnight showing of it
What brought you to Hawaii? Why teach in Hawaii?
because I taught for a year in Southern California where I grew up, and then kind of had this moment of, if I keep teaching here, eventually I'll get tenure, and then it will be hard to leave here.
Hmm.
And I am single and young, so I should just go somewhere and try something. So I just applied for a bunch of jobs in Hawaii, a bunch of teaching jobs in Hawaii, and got a job, and like moved to the island with a suitcase and my motorcycle. And that was it. And it was incredible. It was the best.
How did you meet your wife in Hawaii?
This, I did not realize how cool this story is until I told it to somebody else. So like I said, I ride motorcycles, and I was riding with another guy that I had met because he was the bouncer at one of the small clubs that had local heavy metal shows. And we started talking about motorcycles, and then we started riding together. She came to visit her friend on vacation, and her friend was dating the guy that I rode motorcycles with.
Hmm.
And then her friend was getting like a really complicated ear piercing thing. So I met my wife at a tattoo parlor, and then our first date was a motorcycle ride around the island, which
That's
is 1,000 times cooler than I actually am.
amazing. And then, so she was just on vacation. Like, what, how did you stay in touch? How did it progress?
She was on vacation, but she was also waiting for like, she was waiting to hear about different colleges that she had applied to. Who am I going to get in? Where am I going to get in? And then she didn't get in one of the places that she wanted to get into. And my wife has very strong wanderlust anyway. So like, we started dating, and I was like, she's here on vacation. This will be fun for a week. And she was like, I'm here on vacation. This will be fun for a week. And then we just never stopped hanging out. And then she found an apartment, she got a job, and we just kind of never left. It was really nice.
All right, what is a song that you associate with a milestone in your life?
The song that I thought of for this one is Luminol by Steven Wilson, off of The Raven That Refused to Sing, which is an incredible prog album. It's such a good prog album. And the bass on that song, especially Nick Begg's bass, really stands out and just drives the song. But I started listening to Steven Wilson fairly close to when I started learning to play bass. And I was a person who was never musically inclined. Like, I didn't think I could play an instrument. I had really bad experiences in college where like my music teacher tried to make me learn piano and I couldn't figure it out. So I didn't think I knew how to play bass like at all. I knew how to play music. I'm just not a musically inclined person. That's fine. But then like as a teacher, I started to feel like I am constantly asking students to do things that they cannot do. I'm asking them to divide fractions, and they have no idea what a fraction is. And I'm just like, take a risk, be wrong, it's okay. But reflecting on that, I was, when's the last time I did that? When's the last time I sucked at something and I tried to do something that I couldn't do? Think I want to learn to play music. And I love Geddy Lee and I love Lemmy. So it's like, I got to learn how to play bass. And I kind of figured I'm going to learn how to do this, or I'm going to buy a cheap bass and I'm going to take lessons and I'm going to suck and I'm going to hate it because I'm going to be so frustrated. But at least I tried. And then I started taking lessons and really liked it. And it's not like I didn't pick it up like a fish to water, but like it made sense, and it made sense faster and smoother than I was expecting it to. But I always had this like, well, yeah, I can play the Ramones, but I can't play like complicated song. I can't play hard things. Not realizing then that like the Ramones is actually really hard to play correctly, just because that is such a, you got to feel that music. Um, and Luminol was the first time that I was like, I'm going to learn this song. I'm going to learn this really hard prog song. I'm going to figure it out. And it took me like a month. It took forever practicing every day trying to get this song, and I finally figured it out, and it felt so good. Like that was the first time that I actually felt like a bass player. Like, oh, I can do this. Oh my God, it's incredible. It was really fun.
Oh, that's so great. What a great story. So you didn't start playing an instrument until you were an adult.
Yeah, no, I think I was 35 before I started playing an
Oh,
instrument.
wow. So when did you like start playing in bands?
A few years after that, I started, let me see. My first band I joined maybe a year before the pandemic. And then we broke up and the pandemic happened kind of simultaneously. And then I spent, 2 years practicing by myself. And then once I was finally able to, once it was safe to play with other people again, found a drummer and then found my guitar player and then lost our drummer, kept the guitar player. And now I've got the band that I have, and it's awesome.
I always think like, oh man, my days of playing in a band are behind me and like I'm too old to do certain things. It's hard to like break out of that mentality, but I also started making TikToks when I was almost 40, so
Right. It it started out as a teaching thing, and I have found that it is an incredibly valuable tool because I'm always asking now that I'm working with adults more, I'm asking adults to try things that scare them and
yeah.
things that are difficult, and to then go home and like try to learn a song to play on a stage in front of people. And like now I can't believe that I am singing and playing bass at the same time. That's still, there's still a little part of me that when I'm doing that during a show, I'm like, can't believe that I can do this. This is so cool. This is the neatest thing in the world.
All right. What is a song with some of your favorite lyrics?
I have so many. So I'm a lyrics guy. I'm a lyrics guy first. Like it took me a really long time to appreciate instrumental music because I always hooked on to what the singer was doing first. So I have so many. So okay. My first one, the first one that came to my mind though, do you know Tom Lehrer? Like the original parody artist?
No, I don't think I'm trying to remember. I don't think so.
He just died. I think he like just died like like a week or two ago. He's the guy who wrote the Elements song where he just goes through all the elements of the periodic table. If you Google Daniel Radcliffe, he can sing that song. He's done it on like Graham Norton.
Oh,
So
maybe I've seen that. Maybe that's why I've heard the name. Okay.
probably, but he's so funny. His lyrics are so good, and he's got a song called "Poisoning Pigeons in the Park." And one of the every verse is brilliant, but one of the verses is, we'll murder them all amid laughter and merriment, except for the few we take home to experiment. My pulse will be quickening with each drop of strychnine we feed to a pigeon. It just takes a smidgen to poison a pigeon in the park. And like that's just, how can you not love that? How can you not? And then also you got Warren Zevon. Warren Zevon is one of the greatest lyricists of all
Yeah.
time. And he's got the line in there's like every song, but in Werewolves, where he says, little old lady got mutilated late last night. That's so fun. in your mouth. Little old lady got mutilated late last night. That's the best. You can't not say that and like it is great. Um Weird Al, of course, is a genius. And Weird Al has two on my list. So there's the honorable mention, which is from his first single, Another One Rides the Bus, where he says, I haven't been in a crowd like this since I went to see The Who, which is such a dark lyric. It's like you think Weird Al's this fun, silly guy, and like that is a dark lyric, man. And then, of course, from his song One More Minute, where he says, because I'm stranded all alone at the gas station of love, and I have to use the self-service pumps. Like that's so
Hey,
dirty, Al.
yeah,
And I was singing that when I was 12. I didn't get it. I didn't know what you were saying. That's such a dirty lyric. Oh my God.
that's
And then just because it's hard to like narrow them down, everything Nick Cave ever wrote, everything Neil Peart ever wrote, just like in a line. And then, of course, Pink by Aerosmith, because they have the lyric, Pink is like red, but not quite. And I love lyrics that are like, that's so stupid. I love that so much. How did you come up with that?
all right. What is a song that expanded your musical horizons?
So I have two. One of them is a song that was supposed to expand my musical horizons. Like this is why they did it, and it's "Bring the Noise," but the Anthrax version from
Yeah,
Attack of the Killer Bees.
hell yeah.
I was I don't know if you were like this in high school, but like I was a metal guy in high school, and you like put on the armor of your genre. So like I am a metal guy and I only listen to metal and I can't listen REM, get that out of my face. What is that? Rap, get that out of my face. Only metal all the time. So like blinders on for a really long time.
Sure.
And then I got to the Anthrax album where they went with Public Enemy. And like this song is incredible. And what is this guy's voice? Jesus Christ. He sounds like a bomb exploding. This guy's
Yeah.
voice is incredible. And then, like, okay, well, then I got to buy Fear of a Black Planet and I've got to buy Nation of Millions. And like, suddenly I'm a rap fan and I didn't know that I was. I don't like all rap. I'm pretty good with, I'll listen to just about any metal and I'm kind of still very specific with my rap, but I was never that. And I know that's why they made that song.
Yeah.
Like Scott Ian was like, I need our fans to know what Public Enemy is. And that's why they did it. But it's such a good song. It's such an
Yeah.
incredible song. And then later in my life, do you know Amigo the Devil?
No.
Oh my God. Again, another guy who writes just the greatest lyrics in the world. He's got a line in this song that's every word from your fucking mouth is like bringing wood to a burning house. Incredible lyrics. And the song that I picked specifically is called A Drop for Every Hour off of his album Born Against. But he is like a folk rock guy. So it's just like a lot of his concerts. I don't think all of his concerts, but a lot of his concerts are just him on stage with an acoustic guitar singing. And I can appreciate that. Like I saw Devin Townsend do that once and it was great. But I'm not really a guy with an acoustic guitar and a stool
Right.
person. And this guy's lyrics are so good. And it's like that thing where you realize that heavy is not how distorted the guitars are. Heavy is what the emotional content of the song is. So yeah, like early Black Sabbath isn't as loud and scary as Cannibal Corpse, but I would argue that it is heavier than Cannibal Corpse. There are Nick Cave songs off of Boatman's Call, like his beautiful piano album, that I would argue are heavier than Cannibal Corpse just because of the emotional weight in the song. And all of Amigo the Devil's songs feel like that. Like these should be heavy metal songs, but they're not. And they still are.
Yeah. No,
If
I
that
love that.
doesn't sound insane.
There was a podcast a few years ago with Chuck Klosterman and Chris Ryan. I think it was called like "What Is Music." Have you
Yeah,
ever?
that it was a really good podcast.
Yeah, there was an episode like about heaviness in music, and it's like what are the songs that are heavy that aren't necessarily like heavy metal? And I think Chuck Klosterman was making the argument for like Tori Amos being like heavy.
I mean, Chuck Klosterman, if there's like the most extreme stance you can make, Chuck's gonna make it. I really like his books, but he's funny.
Yeah. And yeah, going back to Public Enemy, that was very much my gateway into rap also because I was super into punk and I was super into like political anarcho punk. And so when I saw Public Enemy and like the lyrics are so political, I mean, Chuck D wanted to be the hip hop Clash. Like it was very purposeful and it, yeah, totally worked on me and hooked me on Public Enemy and that kind of blew it open for a bunch of different stuff. But
Yeah, once the door is open, it's like, oh my god, you start reading the liner notes and they're thanking this band and this group and these people, and you're like, oh fuck, now I gotta go to the store and buy
mhm.
these albums and
Yeah.
figure out what this is.
All right. What is a song that you love that somebody else introduced you to?
This is also my song when I am trying to sound smart and impress people. Not because it is a smart song or a smart band, but because it sounds culturally fancy. So there's a Japanese heavy metal band called Maximum the Hormone. They're they're so heavy. They're kind of System of a Down, but I think they're better. They're heavier. All their songs are in Japanese. No idea what any of their songs are about. But somebody that I followed back before Twitter was only a normal hell pit and not what it is now. Like it was just normal Twitter. Um, would post songs on their Twitter every once in a while. And he posted this video of this random Japanese band, and I clicked on it, and it's the song that I'm thinking of is called My Girl. I didn't know it was called My Girl until 24 hours ago when I looked it up because I had only ever seen it written in Japanese and I do not read Japanese. So
Right.
I was like, I don't know what this song is. Whenever I would tell people about it, I would just have to send them the link and be like, it's this one. But apparently it's called My Girl, at least according to Spotify. And it's insane. And it's like the heaviest thing you have ever heard. I know I just said that like loud and scary isn't heavy, but it's the heaviest thing you've ever heard. And then it like takes this weird left turn and it turns into like this not baby metal, but kitty pop song at
Hmm.
the end, but it's still great. And it all like if I played you the second minute of the song and the fourth minute of the song and the fifth minute of the song, it sounds like three completely different songs.
Yeah,
But
I
it's
love that in a song.
awesome. And they're a band that like I was mad that I discovered and I liked because I was like, oh man, because they have no distribution in the United States. So
Oh my God.
buying their CDs just costs so much money because I
Yeah.
have to get them shipped from Japan. I can't just like order their stuff on Amazon. It's not there. But now it's on streaming. So
Yeah.
that's nice.
Have they ever
One of
toured
the
over
positive.
here?
I think they might have done a Knot Fest.
Okay. But you
But
didn't see
I
them.
don't think they've ever been here. At least they've never been near me while I've been aware of them. And I
Yeah.
regularly check their website, even though their website is in Japanese and I have no idea what it says. But eventually I'm going to look at it and it's going to be like Japanese, Portland, Oregon. I'm going to go, bye. I will be
Yeah.
there, man. They're so good.
What about the other way? What is a song that you introduced somebody else to that you love?
Like I said, every single one of these answers could be Nick Cave, and this one is very much one Nick Cave's song Jubilee Street. Jubilee Street is off of Push the Sky Away. Jubilee Street is my favorite song. Like if I had what is this? You have 4 minutes left to live. What do you want to die listening to? I want to
Hmm.
listen to the live version of Jubilee Street from the 20,000 Days soundtrack. That's what I want to hear. That's the first Nick Cave song I heard. And just like the first time I heard Load, and like, you know how when you're young, you feel your DNA change when you find like your brain just rewires and it's like, oh, I'm into this. This is going to be my entire personality now, you know? I was at a, you know, once you get older, you don't really think I'm going to find any more music that does that to me. That is a young person thing, to find music that changes your DNA. But I didn't find Nick Cave until I was 35, 30. And like, just that song, especially the live version, because it's got Nick Cave live is a whole animal, is incredible. All of his songs change live and they're all perfect. But it has this incredible crescendo, and it has a children's choir on it, and it's just building and build. And I vividly remember the first time I listened to that song, like halfway through going, oh, I think this might be my favorite song. And then by the time it was over, being like, yeah, this is my favorite song. I love this song. This song is amazing. This song changed my life. It's incredible. So now I will be the guy on Twitter. I will like just send my friends songs sometimes, like, you have to listen to this. And when I got the job that I have now, I became friends with one of the other people that I work with, and I just started sending her Nick Cave songs. You don't know who Nick Cave is? Guess what?
Yeah,
Here we go. And I sent her that one, and now she is as obsessed with Nick as I am. We went together to see him on the Wild God tour when he came through Portland. I bought tickets that were way more expensive than I have any right to buy tickets for, because I just needed great seats for the concert.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. And we were together, and my wife came with me, and that was amazing because Nick Cave wrote the most perfect love song that's ever been written, Into Your Arms. And I got to sit next to my wife while Nick Cave sang that song, and she's like, oh my God, it's incredible. But I have Jubilee Street tattooed on my arm. I have lyrics from it because that song means so much to me. So then actually, you know, it's like a shotgun. I don't know if you are like that with me, where you just like send songs to friends, and most of the time you're like, they're gonna listen to this and they're gonna be like, oh, that was good, and that was it. And it's, what do you mean that was good? No, that's the best song in the, what do you mean that was fine? And she actually responded the proper way to Jubilee Street. And it's just like,
the best
yes, one of us. Yes. And then just to shout them out, because they're the best live band going right now. I got my brother-in-law into Avatar. Avatar is a metal band. I think they're from Sweden, and they're incredible. Their song, Hail the Apocalypse, is just, and this is not a phrase I use, it's such a banger. It's so good. Avatar rules.
All right, so speaking of a newer band, what is the most recent song that you've fallen in love with?
Okay. So I have the answer that I was like, this makes me sound smart. And then I have like the real answer. And I was like, I'll give him the smart answer. And then like at midnight last night, I was like, no, I got to give him the real answer. So I just got really into this death metal band called Grand Cadaver. There's such
great name for a metal band.
Great name for a death metal band. And death metal is one of those genres, at least for me, that like the line between really good death metal and really bad death metal is razor thin. It's so small. It's so easy to be like, nope, there's no musicality. It doesn't feel musical. It's just blast beats and Cookie Monster vocals. It's just annoying. And Grand Cadaver is very, I don't even know if melodic is the right word. They just write really good death metal songs.
Yeah.
And their song Grim Eternal is incredible. They're awesome. So that's like the song that I've been into recently. I fell in love with them and a song called Coven by a band called Black Royal. And they the chorus of that song is "Please forgive me, Satan, for I have not sinned." And like that, if you want to get me on board with you, you just write lyrics like that, and I'm like, okay, uh, I'm in, man. Um, and then my fancy I'm smart answer is I got really into the Talking Heads last summer, and Life
Okay.
During Wartime is a perfect song,
Yeah.
especially
Oh my
off
God.
of Stop Making Sense. Just David Byrne is a genius, but saying David Byrne makes me sound like and saying Grad and Cadaver makes me sound like the knuckle dragger, which I kind of am because I like that kind of music. It's fun.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, you could like both. So one thing we haven't talked a lot about is you're also an author. So you've written books like Weird Teacher. When did that start for you? When did you start writing books?
Oh, thank you so much for bringing this up because I don't get to talk about him enough. I was the very first thing I ever wanted to be before I ever wanted to be anything else was an author. Always wanted to be an author. And when I was teaching in Hawaii, I was a mentor teacher. That means I had a student teacher. I had a baby teacher in college who came to my classroom and worked with me and learned from me. And up until I had her, I was a good teacher, but I kind of figured the things I'm doing in my classroom are because I'm a good teacher, but I don't know if they're good teaching, if that makes sense. Like, I am good at this, but I don't know if this translates. And then it really worked for her. And so I started writing things down and writing a blog and keeping notes. And every teacher has a million stories about students. So I kind of started putting those together and then was like, I think I'm going to write a book because I loved working with Bethany, who was my student teacher, so much.
Yeah.
And it actually turned into a book, which is always a little bit of a miracle. Like, oh my God, I actually strung 40,000 words together. This is crazy. Nobody's ever going to buy this. Nobody's ever going to read this. I'm going to self-publish it because we live in a world now where like self-publishing is a thing. I know a guy who does self-publishing. I'm going to self-publish it. My mom is going to read it. My best friend is going to tell me that he read it, and that will be it. And that's fine because I will have a book with my name on it. And He's the Weird Teacher came out, and not like it's not a bestseller, but like again, this was back when Twitter was really popular. A lot of teacher Twitter read it, and like a lot of teacher Twitter was like, I thought I was weird. This speaks to me.
So, kind of going back to your first answer about Metallica and kind of first introductions to metal, I'll give you a bonus question. I was exposed to a lot of cool music by teachers, mostly in high school, but could have been in elementary school too. That's when I first really started getting obsessed with music. Let's say you have a weird kid like me that comes to you, the weird teacher, and you get to play that one song to like blow their mind, introduce them to cool music. What are you playing for them?
Oh no, what a good question. Um, hmm, hmm. It might just be recency. Paranoid is kind of the perfect answer.
Hmm.
Like because it's not like my initial thought was some the title track off of Devin Townsend's Empath album. Devin, if you don't know Devin's a genius. Empath is an incredible record, but like there is too much going on in that song for somebody who is unprepared for it.
Yeah, it's
But
a little advanced.
like we were talking about, like a good entry drug, a good gateway drug, you can't beat Paranoid.
Yeah, I mean,
Here,
yeah.
if you like this, there is so much for you to explore and find and learn about. Unless if they're a super weird kid, then I'm gonna play them like a Frank Zappa song. I'm gonna play them the one about farming dental floss in Montana. I can't remember what that one's called. Um, but Frank's a
Zappa
genius.
could be fun, yeah. But no, Paranoid is great. That was probably the first Black Sabbath song I ever heard because I think
It
it's on this.
probably everybody, right?
Yeah, I think it was maybe like a VH1 flashback or maybe on the Dazed and Confused soundtrack. Somewhere that was the first one I heard, and yeah, that'll get you in.
And then if I could talk about one other song really quickly. My band, we cover a Sex Pistols song because my guitar player loves Johnny Rotten. So we got to cover a Sex Pistols song. But the other cover we play in our set, and the cover that's on the album, Broken Toys, out August 30th, uh, is 9 to 5 by Dolly Parton.
Oh yeah, I listened to that.
Because we were sitting at practice and we were talking about covers and we were like, we should cover a song that would be insane, like a song that makes everybody in the audience go, or what is, I know, why do I
Is
know
it
this,
Dolly
what are
Parton?
they playing? And then by the time you get to chorus, the whole audience is like, oh my god, this is a metal band playing Dolly Parton. And it's such a fun song. There's so many words and it's so fast. It's such a
Yeah.
pain in the ass to sing, but it's great. It's so fun. Every time we play it, and it makes it sound like a rock star. Like every night, every time we play it, the dozen of people in the audience, like everybody's got a big smile on their face. Like, all right, Dolly Parton, woo! And like, how many times do you get to go to a heavy metal show and shout out, Dolly? Yeah, we love you, Dolly.
Everybody loves Dolly, so it's perfect.
Dolly's the best.
Um, yeah, Doug, this is so awesome. Anything else you want to promote? New album, new books?
If you are in Portland, we are always playing live. We don't really play outside of Portland because all three of us are dads with jobs. But like, come check out Red Hoof. We are Good Time Live. Nice to see you.
All right. Well, if I'm ever in Portland, I'm going to check it out for sure.
100%.
All
You're on
right.
the
Thanks so
list.
much. Oh, wow. Thank you. The guest list. Oh my God.
The guest list. Bam! Nailed it.
You've heard the stories, now hear the songs. Go to wherever you listen to music, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, and you can listen to today's guest's personalized playlist if you search for The Guest List with Patrick Hicks.